Excellent. Well, I want to welcome our attendees here. Starting to see folks filter in for today's latest edition of Tech Talk. I'm Tom Gallucci here with the Mortgage Collaborative, and I'm joined by Joe Bryant, president with longtime TMC preferred partner TriServe Appraisal Management Solutions. As you can imagine, evaluations have been a very popular topic of late, particularly around like turn times and low inventory purchase centric market, as well as trying to align valuations with a lot of overinflated home prices out there just due to that inventory shortage. And I can see you perking up right away, Joe. But first off, before we kind of jump into the discussion, just a couple quick housekeeping items for our attendees. First off, all lines have been muted just to avoid any, kind of feedback jumping in on the line so everybody can hear clearly. That said, always love the interaction on these discussions. So highly encourage any questions for Joe that you have, general comments or just feedback. Feel free to drop that in either via the chat or the Q&A function on your Zoom screen. Feel free to get it interactive by letting us know where you're joining us from today. I'm out of Cleveland, Ohio. I know Joe's joining in from Ponte Vedra. I'm sure I butchered it a little bit there in Florida, even though you've got what is that the Atlanta skyline?
That's the Atlanta skyline. We're headquartered in a suburb of Atlanta, but I'm in beautiful Ponte Vedra Beach, Florida.
And remind me, Joe, what PGA event is hosted there every year?
The Players Championship.
Right, with the famous Island Green. Yes.
Yeah. And I can't tell you how many times, I play a lot of golf. All these friends, they want to come down the 17th hole, the famous Island Green. It's an easy shot, but it's surrounded by water. And I've watched so many people, I've stood there and watched people knock 5-6 balls in the water. Ponte Vedra Beach is also the home of the PGA Tour. They just built a new mega million dollar corporate headquarters, which is something else.
Wow. Yeah, I could see myself on that hole dumping about 5 or 6 balls easily in the water. Oh, well, on that note, Joe, it's great to have you with me today.
Pleasure.
I always like to start these discussions off just by learning a little bit more about you and your background and what kind of brought you into the mortgage industry, and knowing that you've got, I believe, upwards of 40 years of experience within our industry. And very few of us ever sought out to get into mortgage, but just start us off. I'd love to hear a little bit more about your background and what brought you over the years to TriServe.
I'm a CPA and I hate accounting. And I got out of school, I worked for a broker dealer. Back then, lack of technology or minimal technology. And I just didn't like it. And, I found out that I can talk to people, and a friend of mine was in the mortgage business. In fact, Larry Pratt, a lot of people on here might know Larry. He owns First Savings Mortgage in the DC area. He was at First Tennessee Bank. He hired me. The two of us worked together. Between us, we closed over 400 loans a year for like 3 or 4 years. I wanted to know more about the industry. I didn't know what a basis point was, but I was originating the heck out of loans. And First Tennessee sent me the MBA School of Mortgage Banking, and that opened my eyes, and ended up going to work in the mortgage insurance business, worked for GE Mortgage Insurance, where I ended up EVP of Sales and Marketing. Then I was at Travelers Mortgage, president there. Unfortunately, they lost $5 billion in the Midwest, the oil patch, and had to sell their non-insurance subsidiaries. Sold the company to GE, and then went to Prudential in a very unique role, helping to oversee Prudential Home Mortgage, Prudential Real Estate Affiliates. And then I ended up as EVP of lending for a large bank in Long Island. We sold the bank, retired for the first time. I couldn't stand it. I don't like to play golf every day. I got into consulting by I don't know how, but I do have to take time to my best story. I get divorced second time with my daughter at Fresh Market here in Ponte Vedra Beach. I get to my car. There's a voice message. I pick up my phone. The exact message is, Joe, this is Dan Quinn. I'm with the FBI and we want to talk to you. Holy crap. I had been on the board of directors of a mortgage real estate investment trust, chairman of the audit committee. The CEO and the CFO played games. I resigned. $3.5 billion of market capitalization went to zero in 6 months. And I ended up getting the FBI and the U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of New York as consulting clients. And that's how I got started. And then 11 years ago, I met two brother-in-laws that had started an appraisal management company, and they were looking for some old fart that knew a lot of people. And I became a partner of the company, and here we are.
They keep pulling you back in. I gotta say, you'd
I
have
love
to be
it.
quite the fish out of water going back to be a CPA who hated accounting. But I was going to ask you that. What kept pulling you back in through your two failed retirements? But obviously, the golf course couldn't keep you away by itself.
Well, no,
Joe, I got to ask. Go ahead.
I have found, I've talked to a lot of people. I think many people and people on this call will agree. You get into this business and it hooks you. And, you know, it's a huge industry by dollar volume, but in a way, it's a small industry people-wise. And I used to joke, I'd like to own, you know, if the one monopoly I could have in the mortgage business, it would be on business cards because people change jobs so often. But anyway.
Well, you know, it's such a relationship-driven business. I mean, we spent a lot of time talking about technology, but you know, I think it's a commonplace in this industry where you keep close relationships, you know, because even if you part ways from one entity, odds are you're going to end up working together in some fashion further down the path. I got to ask you though, how'd you get the nickname The Godfather?
That was given to me internally. Heather Anglin, who runs our coordinator teams, I think the fourth employee of TriServe when it was founded in '08. You know, I'm older, I've been around. There's not many mortgage related questions that I can't answer. And I became just, you know, that guy. And Heather nicknamed me, and now I'm the Godfather.
We should have had some Godfather theme music to cue you in on the call. Well, I'll tell you what, you know, we spent a lot of time on Tech Talk, obviously talking about mortgage tech, how it's impacting the industry, and you know, with your experience on the valuation side, you know, I get the feel from a lot of conversations I've had that, you know, lenders and different providers in the space are looking to create an Uber-like appraisal ordering experience to try to leverage technology to expedite it. Yeah, I'd be interested in your take on that kind of approach. You know, just because we talked too and lead into this discussion, you know, technology is great and everyone's trying to create that silver bullet out there. But if you're not designing technology that fits towards your business partner's processes, is it truly working for you? So kind of love your take on that Uber-like approach that is kind of starting to take shape, I guess, within the valuation experience.
Well, you kind of hit the nail on the head as far as how I feel about it. I've always been a big advocate of technology. The creative utilization of technology is obviously a great driver in our industry and any industry. As I shared with you before, I'm a little hesitant. You know, technology cannot do everything. And what we have a dearth of technology companies and a lot of new technology companies coming into the space. And they all have quote the secret sauce, but I think when you really boil it down, they don't actually have the secret sauce. And we've got layers upon layers upon layers of technology. And I oftentimes think, is this really where we want to go? Some people want technology to do everything. Technology cannot appraise a house. Now, some people will fight me on this, I'm sure. So many subdivisions that we all know and all across the country are cookie cutters. You got floor plan 1, floor plan 2, floor plan 3, exterior A, B, and C, and they're all basically the same. Well, after 10, 15 years, there's a huge difference in homes. And metric valuation based on empirical data sucked out of by Barrows through CU and Fannie and Freddie give you an indication. But how do you know how does technology know that there's a swimming pool? How does technology know that the interior hasn't been totally renovated? You've got sub-zero, you got granite, everything of that nature. I think technology can certainly help. Technology, some people, some companies are advocating where you let the borrower or the homeowner measure the house. That's something that might be coming. I think there's some issues that would necessarily have to be really ironed out on that. At the end of the day, the boots are on the ground, and technology is good, but somebody actually has to do some work themselves. And I think it's going to be a while before we see appraisers eliminate it. I don't know if it will ever actually happen.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree with you more. There's really so many nuances, and some of which even go over my head towards, effectively in a compliant fashion, as well as really accurate towards the valuation of the home, and a lot of the different components you just mentioned that come into play that an automated tool can't simply do that for you, or don't take into account a lot of those variables. I think of the pandemic in particular. I mean, you think of how many time people have spent at home, how popular it's been to kind of, spend time renovating or upgrading your property, to try to maximize that value in the marketplace. And, to your point, unless you've got boots on the ground, really assessing everything you've done, or the different nuances, or, even structural issues that might be in place, you can't, technology just simply can't supplement all of that.
Exactly. And let me give you an example.
Please.
I won't name names, but there's a number of online automated home valuation products, and we hear it all the time. Well, my XYZ says my house is worth X, and my comeback is, I live in a pretty nice condo real close to the beach of the Atlantic Ocean, and I would gladly sell my condo tomorrow to whomever would pay what this automated valuation says. Because that goes back to what I was saying earlier. Technology is great, and creative utilization of information is great, but reality has to come into play.
Oh, exactly. And we've heard a lot of consternation from lenders over the last couple of years too, of this is really undercutting our originators, or the seller in the first place, in maximizing their value on the home, or undercutting it just based on what the algorithm currently says the property is worth, and not taking into account some of the components, upgrades within the house, or neighborhoods weighted versus one another, for school districts, or just the regionality that draws interest from a buying standpoint towards certain neighborhoods within a community versus others. That technology, at least up to this point, from my experience, just isn't necessarily positioned to to be that silver bullet out there for that.
Exactly.
Mhm. Have you seen, the technology on the appraisal side, at least having a positive impact to this point? Because, it's been a long-standing challenge within valuations that there's a shortage of actual appraisers, and starting to see these tools come to fruition and helping kind of assign out appraisers, based on where they're located, as a support to help expedite kind of the turn time, or you know, using scoring techniques to get to the right appraiser out there. What's your take on some of those recent
Well, it's
technologies?
interesting you bring it up, and I'm sure somebody will like to talk about turn times, but um, for example, we have our technology is proprietary. The vast majority of AMCs in the industry use off-the-shelf systems, like, just like a lender uses an LOS.
Mhm.
By having a proprietary system, we can change things very quickly. For example, customers want a customized report. They want detailed information about appraisers that have been used in the past month, excuse me, or quarter. We can create a custom report for them in a couple of days. If I've got off-the-shelf technology, you got to, you got to take a ticket, write a work order, and that's going to take some time. So what we have been really working hard on utilizing our technology, what we feel is a value add to us. And the key thing is get the right appraiser in the right, with a high score, close to the property, that is well rated as an appraiser. And so our system, we have been working on it a long time. And it's working very well, but we have some goals that we're very close to having, so that, automatically the best scored appraiser who's closest to the property, that passes every exclusionary list, no work, no hands whatsoever. Bingo, Tom Gallucci is assigned the order. And then again, the utilization of technology to between the appraiser and the AMC, in this case, TriServe, and being able to disseminate real quality information to our customers. And like I said earlier, specifically reports by appraisers used for the month, so that they can get an idea and see appraiser scores, turn times, et cetera. We're, with the help of a third party, we are really refining that and are real close to rolling it out. I'd say within the next month.
That is extremely exciting, and especially would I imagine this to be a somewhat of a challenging time too, with it just, this transition back to a purchase-centric marketplace. And I know, probably your lender clients as well as prospects out there looking for any sort of tool or resource that can help them in quickly, turning loans from application to close, and being able to seize as much of that purchase-centric market share as possible, especially with these homes, as soon as they're listed, if they're priced appropriately, going right off the market. And with a multitude of contingencies or backups in place, looking if something falls short. Quick reminder to everybody out there, this is Tech Talk. Tom Gallucci, joined with Joe Bryant from longtime TMC partner TriServe. And real quick, I did drop a note in the chat. A link was a great resource from a recent webinar broadcast that we did with TriServe, where Joe brought to the table really a succinct list of 12 questions that you should be asking of your AMC So highly encourage anybody on the Zoom line, feel free to take a look at that link in the chat there too. And Joe, appreciate the research. I'm gonna put you a little bit on the spot here too, because we did get a lot of questions on that discussion.
Yeah.
Of those 12 questions you put out to lay out for your AMC, what do you think is the number one maybe that often gets overlooked by lenders?
Customary and reasonable fees. Every state in the country, plus the District of Columbia, requires licensing of an appraisal management company. And there might be one or two states that don't mention this, but Dodd-Frank, the AIR regulations, appraiser independence requirements, talk about we are obligated to pay customary and reasonable fees to appraisers. And lenders need to recognize that an AMC is a third-party vendor to the lender. We represent the lender. Anything that we do that violates regulations or creates problems falls on the lender. And, you know, I'm not going to name names, but we're members of a lot of appraiser forums, et cetera. And literally every day you see appraisers posting about XYZ AMC, fairly well-known AMC, is they got an order that the borrower is going to pay $650 and they're offering it for $250 to the appraiser. That is wrong. It's wrong. And unfortunately, nobody seems to enforce this. There's been very few state enforcements, but sooner or later, especially in a new administration that seems like they're juicing up the CFPB. But it's like, wouldn't you want to partner with a company that's ensuring that your appraisers, the lender's appraisers, they're on our panel, but they're creating product for you, that everything is done in a legal, ethical, and moral fashion. And I predict, you know, could be totally wrong. I think there's going to be a major big deal sooner or later about customary and reasonable fees, but doesn't seem like a lot of lenders care about it. And I talk about it a lot, and maybe I'm just, you know, blowing against the wind, so to speak, but that's the big item.
Yeah, I mean, you bring up a really important point too. I mean, with the new administration, and I think you know, we've seen a lot of feedback from our lenders too, starting to really ratchet up you know, their compliance departments and putting a renewed focus on their processes to make sure they're in line for you know, when state, federal, or CFPB regulators start nosing around. Last thing you want to do is be hit with a hefty fine or have negative press in that fashion too. And you know, it's definitely certainly different environment now than when the CFPB was formed, kind of coming out of the crash in 2008. But still, you know, you wanna run a reputable organization to keep things above board and stay off the regulators' radar. So I would agree with you. I mean, any practice out there that you know, puts that into question, you know, why would you want to do business with folks that
Well, Tom, this is a thought that just came to me.
Yeah.
We have almost 300 active customers that we manage appraisals for. And we have to, you know, there's a due diligence questionnaire 99% of the time that has to be completed. And then an annual due diligence questionnaire with updated policy documents, et cetera. And I manage that. And so I see every one of these. I can't remember a due diligence question specifically about customary and reasonable fees. There's a lot of questions about compliance. And we utilize the international law firm Alston and Bird. They've got one of the best mortgage risk compliance practices in the industry. And we rely on them for, you know, updates, et cetera. We get twice monthly updates. And so we were asked about, what do you do about compliance? Well, we have a third party that reviews everything that we do. No one's ever asked about customary and reasonable fees. Anyway, I'm beating a dead horse probably, but that's me.
That's crazy to me. Um, kind of another question here to put you a little bit on the spot. I mean, we talked about it briefly before. There's a lot of hubbub around AVMs and using automated technology for evaluations, and the thought process out there by some that technology is going to eventually do away with the AMC. And I'd love to provide you the forum out there to explain why that's not the case, and that why there's such a value in partnering with a reputable AMC that is focused on driving an optimal experience.
Well, obviously, opinions are like, what is the expression? Everyone has an opinion. Technology certainly is having an impact on the industry all over. It's also having an impact on the valuation side. Some of the AVMs are, pretty high quality. We provide to our customers free of charge a Vero Select. I call it the AVM on steroids. And a lot of lenders really love it because for auditors, their own auditors, and for auditors from the state, et cetera, you've got a backup, so to speak, product that provides a great deal of information and comps and but again, I go back to, the automation cannot tell you on a refinance that there's a for sale sign in the front yard. Automation cannot tell you that there's a swimming pool and it's not noted. I think there's always got to be some type of interaction. I think the appraiser industry in general kind of shot themselves in the foot for a long time, requiring a 4-year college degree to be an appraiser. Makes absolutely no sense. They've changed those requirements. I tell all of my friends, people talk about kids going to college and spending $8 zillion. Go to a community college, get an associate's degree, and you want to make $125,000 a year, become an appraiser. And I think we're seeing more people enter the business now. We see more and more of mentorships and trainees. And I think that's going to help the crisis that we're in. I don't think we're going to continue to see loan volume the way we've seen it last year and this year. And obviously a lessening of demand is going to free up more time for appraisers, because as it is, and even though, people ask me, loan volume, everybody's saying loan volume's down 15% or so this year versus last year. And why is everybody so busy? I wish I could answer that question. I think a lot of it's just burnout and they're tired. And
I mean, even, being down 15% from record volumes is still a pretty darn good year. And you kind of led me right down the path. I wanted to ask you if your opinion, you laid out a couple of the right steps that we're taking out here to make it easier or more appealing for, younger folks to get into becoming an appraiser. But is there more that we can be doing as an industry to kind of open those doors to a new generation of green talent on the appraiser side?
Well, I used to be very, very active in the MBA. In fact, I was on the board of governors for a good while. But we're so busy, I have a hard time keeping up with a lot of stuff. I believe the MBA might have some kind of initiative or discussions as far as a partnership with the Appraiser Institute. But we definitely need more people in the industry. And as I said, cutting back the college degree requirements is certainly going to help, but it's not an overnight solution. And we're just going to have to grin and bear it. And at this point in time, I might make people mad, but I beg everybody, what is the magic about trying to close a deal in 30 days? In today's market, it's highly unlikely. There's no special sauce. Well, and everything's going to take 2 to 3 weeks in the on the appraisal side. No matter where you are in the country, it's going to generally take 2 to 3 weeks. Why people can't realize that? Why can't people bake it into the contracts? Why don't realtors understand it? I don't know. There's no special sauce. I hear it all the time. Well, so-and-so can get it done in 5 days. I said, I'll bet you 10,000 cash, right now.
And
AMC,
if it is it accurate, or, does it
well,
have
yeah,
to come
or is
back?
it some jackleg appraiser that
Right.
is looking for business? It's just, it's part of the process. We have to live with it. I'm a big believer in managing expectations and, understanding the process. And the process is, like Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. The little girl, she wanted an Oompa Loompa and a chocolate river. I want an Oompa Loompa and a chocolate river. Everybody wants appraisals done in 5 or 6 business days. Only in rare circumstances is that going to happen. All appraisers work for a bunch of AMCs, and a lot of lenders manage their own panel of appraisers. Those appraisers also work for AMCs. There's only a finite number of appraisers out there, and there's no group that's got some magic set of appraisers that only work with them that will get work done, quickly. So it's a kind of a blight on our industry, but it's what's realistic. It's what's going on, and it's something that everybody in the process needs to understand.
Well, I think you kind of answered the question. We got to get more appraisers, and we got to incentivize our youth, or, do a better job in giving them the understanding of what a lucrative and rewarding career it can be. And especially, to your point, getting rid of the 4-year degree mandate out there. It really, to your point, incentivizes or cuts down one of the barriers to getting more to more folks in the field.
Well, Tom, and pardon me, this is a typical Joe going off the rails a little bit. I go on this with all the time with my friends. I live in a very affluent area, and everybody's kid is special, and kids are going to college, and and I'm not denigrating a degree. In fact, I won't say a degree, but they get a degree where even if you got that degree, you're going to make $40,000 or $50,000 a year, but they end up with $80,000 or $100,000 in school debt. Exactly. Why not go to a trade school or go to a junior college and pick out have minimal debt and pick out a career where you can make 6 figures? And you can definitely make 6 figures in the appraisal industry. And think about it. You ride around in your car all day. So all of your, you write off all of your expenses. And a lot of people like the freedom, and you can schedule your own time. And obviously right now appraisers, they're making more money than they've ever made. And so maybe they're scheduling too many appraisals, which creates some more backup. But it's like, let's focus people on our kids, which is the future of our society, the kids today, to focus on careers that are going to be rewarding, both in, self-satisfaction as well as monetarily.
Right, exactly. As opposed to just, I've got to get this 4-year, 5-6 year plus experience in and be saddled with endless amount of debt with a wife as a guidance counselor at a high school level. We could go down that rabbit hole all day.
Oh yeah.
But I want to close out today's discussion with shining the spotlight on TriServe, and I want to cede you the floor here to give us, you kind of dived into it a little bit about teasing out what's coming down the line from TriServe, but would love your perspective on what the latest and greatest is from your organization and why lenders should be excited about doing business with TriServe.
Well, I appreciate that, Tom. It's kind of a layup, obviously, but look, we've signed up 41 new customers so far today, and I know for a fact we're signing another one up. No, 42, because we signed up another one this morning, another one tomorrow. Why are we signing up so many new accounts? Every lender has a compliant or hopefully compliant appraisal process in place. So for us to get a client, we have to displace another AMC or convert somebody from going internal to utilization of an AMC. And our secret sauce is the creative utilization of technology married with something that's easy to talk about, that's hard to do: customer service. There's going to be problems in the appraisal process. We own the problem whether we created it or not. And we have almost 300 satisfied customers. Do we lose some customers every year? Yeah, I think this year we've lost 2. And one was a realtor-based mortgage company, and all the realtors want turn times of 5 days. So we're bound to be able to find somebody better than you. But anyway, we got great people, got great technology. We're bringing more things to the table. We want to bring we want to be totally what I call open kimono, totally transparent, everything that goes on, what our fees are, what we're paying the appraiser, which I think is very important. And a lot of our customers look at that very carefully, because it proves that we're paying, customary and reasonable fees. And as we go forward, more metrics on appraisers, refining the quality score that we create for the appraiser, trying to ensure, we can't do it 100% of the time, I'll be honest, but trying to ensure that a huge percentage of the time, the appraiser that's going to be designated to do an order is a high caliber, high rated, great customer service, great communication skills. And that's what wins at the end of the day. And that's why we feel like we're winning versus a lot of our competition. And that's the reason why.
Well, we share, a lot of the the same ethos on the collaborative here, and I think that's why we find such a great alignment with TriServe as a partner. So, Joe, I always appreciate the opportunity to get to chat with you. We always start down mortgage and go other places, but I always enjoy it. And I really appreciate you taking the time out for our audience today to kind of talk a little bit about what's happening with technology and your segment of the world in our industry. And I certainly appreciate the time and the partnership, and just glad we could have you with us today.
We love TMC.
We love TriServe. So we look.
Everybody have a great day, and thanks for listening.
Thanks so much, Joe, and everybody echo Joe's sentiments. Have a great afternoon and a good rest of your week.